What's good? Welcome back to the channel. No, fuck all that. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to switch things up a little bit, bring you guys a little bit more value in more of a long format kind of way. I want to switch something up to be more valuable. As you guys can see, I've kind of been venturing off away from the frequency of my uploads because I definitely see the content would tend to get watered down if I were to continuously post on a excuse me on a what's the word on a consistent level. If I were to continuously post on a consistent level, the quality of what I was doing would start to diminish, right? So I wanted to spread the time out, go get real world experience, come back with some valuable knowledge to give to you guys. And the basic topic of today's video, I basically want to cover is let's shut the fuck up, keep our heads down, and get to work. And there's a lot of things I want to cover in this essentially, but there's just a few couple things. And the first thing I want to kind of cover is if you don't feel like quitting, you may not be going hard enough, okay? And you may honestly ask, okay, why the fuck do you need to feel like why do you need to feel like quitting in order to reassure that you're going hard enough? And there's a lot to go behind that, but the first things I'll say is that if there's no pressure, then there's no growth. Okay, I simply know a lot of people who go to the gym, they eat clean, they do the quote unquote hard things, including myself, and sooner or later those things can all become habitual. And when those things become habitual, that's when you lose the pressure of it, and when you lose the pressure, it becomes kind of easy. Okay, and what I'm getting at here is that you can do the considered to be hard things that the average considers to be hard, because obviously their level of hard is way below yours. You have higher standards and you have a stronger work ethic compared to the average or the other people in your life. So you can kind of get away with doing these hard things, but deep down inside, you don't necessarily have that pressure of it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because the longer you continue to do these things, you lose the pressure, and then you're just kind of doing it easily. It just becomes easy. Like going to the gym, eating clean, and doing all this stuff, it just becomes easy. Okay, and when this happens, you're just simply not going hard enough anymore. And I've experienced this myself. Okay, especially within the gym, working out in general, just me trying to be a productive member of society. I've experienced this myself as well. Okay, for example, like for the past year or year and a half, I've been working 40-hour weeks not every single week, but I've been working 40-hour weeks, just one job. And it's somewhat hard. I mean, but first off, the money's shit, and it's just not hard enough. It just becomes habitual. Yes, you're kind of tired at the end of the week, but you could have put out more, right? That's why I decided to bump my hours to 88 hours a week. Now I'm working two jobs on Saturdays, and I'm working two jobs back to back, 16-hour days, and I'm working on a Saturday. Okay, get more money, put more work out. I become more of a productive member, mostly for myself, not necessarily society, because I'm not really putting out anything. But yeah, almost every single day I feel like crying, I feel like quitting, and that's just simply a sign that I'm operating a few levels above my comfort level. And whatever you're doing, if you don't feel like quitting and you don't feel like it's hard, then it's definitely time to just step harder on the gas or get another vehicle to operate at the same time. And yes, it's going to be hard to try to drive two cars at the same time, but you can figure it out. You can build the systems around it, and you can always put in more work, and you just know yourself, right? Simple as that. But it's simply just time to kick things up a notch in your life, because if you lose that feeling of wanting to quit, then you've moved your comfort level up. Okay, and once you've moved your comfort level up, you have to continuously move your intensity beyond it. Does that make sense? So in general, all I got to say is that you need to remember that if there's no pressure, then there's no growth. Okay, next thing I'll say is that it builds character. Okay, simple. What builds character? We'll go back again. The topic I'm covering right now is, if you don't feel like quitting, you may not be going hard enough. Okay. The second thing I'll cover around that is that it builds character. Okay. Just think about what happens when your receptors are aching for a break and you're screaming to your cingulate cortex, which is called your ACC, and that's basically a frontal lobe in your brain that sends signals to your prefrontal cortex to quit and to stop doing whatever you're doing. It's the part of your brain that sends signals to stop doing hard things. Okay. But imagine all that shit happens. You're faced with all this adversity, all these bruises, all these cuts, all these walls, all these things that are just screaming at you, telling you to stop, but you don't. But you don't. Just imagine, just think about what that does. Obviously, that builds receptors to keep on going forward and whatever. But imagine a man that continues to push forward between all those, compared to a man who conforms to all of those blocks and roads and bruises and cuts and traps and obstacles. Just think about the man that develops. Just think about it. Okay. Next is that it's going to turn you into a monster. All right. It builds character, yes, and on top of that, it's going to turn you into a monster. Okay, an ambitious, confident, charismatic monster who just knows who he is and what he stands for. Obviously, I'm not talking about a predatory monster. We want to avoid that at all costs. But a monster who just has this aggression about him and he's just pushing forward through his goals, through his life and his daily routine. That's the type of man you want to be and that's the type of man you want to become. And the only way that you're going to be doing that is continuously doing things that make you feel like you want to quit, but you don't quit. All right, because obviously quitting is you just don't want to you just don't really want to be a bitch. Okay, but simply having the ability to pursue long-term goals and learn from every wall you face is just a man to just tread carefully with. Like, trust me, I've met men like that, and I consider myself a guy like that as well. People do have a hard time arguing with me. They have a hard time bringing their points of views because they know I'm going to argue with them. They know I'm going to bring my opinion onto them, and you should adopt the same kind of behavior because you know your values, you know your beliefs, and you're not going to just let people around you spew this negativity and spew this bullshit. All right, simple as that, bro. You got to become a monster. I'm not saying become arrogant and somebody who just blabbers on about life and his opinions, but understand when it's time for you to interject. Understand when it's time for you to place your values and boundaries in strategic areas, so it doesn't allow for bullets to come your way and shoot you in your vulnerable spots. That's the kind of character I develop, and that's kind of who I'm pursuing to be right now. A man just like that who has all those walls in place to make sure that he's protected. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, make sure your vulnerabilities are clear and they're known for yourself. You don't have to show them to other people, but for yourself. All right, make sure you're not hiding from them and avoiding all this shit, but build the necessary walls. Okay. But dead ass, bro, you just want to be that man. You want to be the man who builds character, all right? You don't want to be just that rich ass simp, or you don't want to be the rich 150-pound kid who got lucky with his online business. You want to be a man with substance, and you want to be a man with experience. It's simple as that, okay? Like there's just gonna be a lot of people. Like once you start pursuing that kind of life of just suffering without kind of a reason. Like you're really just suffering with no reason, essentially. Like you're willing to just suffer because you know the results of suffering. People are going to start to ask you a lot of things, right? Like simply when I told people that I was going to be moving out a few months ago, everyone was like, no, just take the easy route, use your comfort as something to drive you, and they don't necessarily understand, okay? But it is what it is. You got to ignore that. But what people don't understand is that massive results without failure leads to a failure as a man. That's what I've come to a conclusion as. All right, you can get results without the failure, but then you're just a failure of a person. You either get results with failure, so then you're actually successful. I hope you understand what the fuck I mean by that. All right, the next thing around not quitting is it gives you the ability to inspire. Okay, once you're doing things, or once you're willing or actively doing things that people can never imagine themselves doing, you now have a level of responsibility because they're going to start to hold you to a higher standard that you have to consistently meet, unless you want to be a little bitch, and you don't want to be a little bitch. But once you been on your self development journey for a while, you're going to have a lot of mini or big accomplishments that you may not consider accomplishments, including myself. Apparently, according to everybody else around me, I've had accomplishments in my life. I don't see them. Maybe that's toxic, maybe it's not, but that just means I have high standards, and other people see them as accomplishments, and therefore they're inspired by those accomplishments, and those mini accomplishments or big accomplishments down the road are going to put a lot of people into action. Are going to cause people to change a little bit of the bad habits or things they do in your life, and just having the ability to inspire is just a really, 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 really good thing, bro. Because what it does, it just makes you never want to stop. Once you know that you're kind of like, oh, my little brother's starting to clean his room, he's starting to work out, he's cooking for me, he's wanting to pursue business at such a young age. My little sister is putting her freaking closet in color-coded order because of me, because I went in there and I told her, yo, start this. And I'm like, I just built that discipline in her over time. Knowing that you have the ability to do that is crazy. And what sucks about this is the same reason why a lot of men kill themselves nowadays. It's because just as a man yourself, the main purpose as a man is knowing that when you're dead, there's going to be something left behind. And when you have the feeling that when you die and there's nothing left behind, you just kind of don't see the purpose of life anymore. And even if you have no ability to inspire, you're just kind of living on through life, and people aren't necessarily inspired by your actions, or they don't really see you as a figure to look up to or a figure to emulate. You feel like you have no purpose, and therefore there's no reason to live. And that's how a lot of men are feeling nowadays, and that's is really sad. So chase the ability to inspire, because if you want to change the loved one, if you want to change the life of your loved ones, and you change your life as well, it starts with your ability to just go head to head with your comfort level, head to head with your insecurities. I say this for myself too. If we want the ability to inspire people, it starts with our ability to go head to head with our comfort level. It starts with our ability to go head to head with our insecurities. It starts with our ability to to chase chase the exit of our comforts and our vices. You need to chase that, because sometimes we're enslaved to those things, and it's best to just get the fuck out of that. Okay, and the next topic I want to cover about keeping your head down and getting the fuck to work is to let go of the matrix mindset. All right, I'm 100% with the idea of, that there's a matrix and there's a system in place, but through social media and people I've met in real life, they're just simply using it as a way of life, and they're making it like a thing that kind of dictates the decisions they make in their life. And that's fucked up, all right? And there's a lot of reasons behind that, but the first reason I'll say that's behind that is that it puts you into a victim mindset, okay? I mean, if you're constantly thinking that there's an opposing force against you, most will fall into a victim state of mind that will continuously put the matrix as why they're seeing a lack of progression in certain areas of their lives. And then you're just going to blame people for things that you haven't accomplished, or blame a system, right? It's just as bad. It's just as bad as blaming people for things you haven't accomplished. Blaming the system is just as bad as blaming people. Okay, first of all, and second is that you don't want to be you just don't want to be that conspiracy theorist that's in his mom's basement, and he figures out all the things wrong with the government, saying that they do this and they do that, and capitalism this and capitalism that. It's just sad. And what I think is more that's going to cause more paralysis in your life rather than progression. I mean, if you're constantly looking at reasons why there's or you thinking that there's an opposing force against you that's just stopping you from reaching all of your goals. Of course there's a matrix, of course there's a system, but that's not why you're lazy. That's not why you're broke. It's just because you're not navigating through it properly, and you don't work hard enough. It's as simple as that, okay? But yeah, that's kind of what I want to cover around there. Is it's going to put you in a victim state of mind, and you don't want to kind of fall into that. But the system in place is not supposed to be something that causes you to overanalyze everything and look into every detail. It's something that's supposed to make you look into the mirror and tell yourself that you've been lied to your whole life, and it's time to get to work and do the opposite of what you've been told. Okay, once you figure something out as deep as the red pill, and once you figure something out as deep as the matrix, it's not time to go into deep search mode and just go fucked up. Like, okay, you can do that for like a week or two and just really be like, damn, I've been lied to my whole life. But after that, my nigga, it's time to level up. It's time to start making progress. And I notice a lot of people, they just kind of sit back. They don't really sit back. They have that mental masturbation, exactly what it is. And they think they're being productive, doing all this research and acquiring all this useless knowledge that's not even going to help them make money. And they just stay stuck in this one red pill, in the red pill rage. They get stuck in the red pill rage. They get stuck in there. And I've seen a lot of people like that. And I see a lot of Andrew Tate fans are kind of like that as well. As much as Andrew Tate pushes that nice ideology of getting the fuck up, going to work, doing things despite how you feel, a lot of his fans don't necessarily follow that advice, and they kind of just follow the conspiracy theories that he laid out for them to believe, okay? And this is something you don't want to fall into, because you're going to be just in a perpetuating loop of self-help, a perpetuating loop of red pill ideologies, a perpetuating loop of conspiracy theories, and you're never going to make any progress in your life, okay? And I fell into this loop for like maybe 4 or 5 months. I was in the red pill rage of just kind of fuck. And it was besides the girls. I learned about girls way earlier in my life, but in terms of the government, the system, the capitalism, all this and that, I felt hopeless. I felt like there was no hope for me as a person in this capitalist society. But once I've done more research and I realized, okay, I do have a chance. I just need to continuously work and do what I got to do to get to that level. And you do too. So don't think that just because a lot of people are capitalizing in this world that you don't have a chance to get a piece of your own pie or add to the pie, as Elon Musk says. Okay, everybody has a chance. You simply just have to play your cards right, and you have to be consistent. Okay, a lot of people aren't consistent. A lot of people just don't do shit. So me simply just starting and doing something puts me miles ahead of everybody else. So just do something, and that's where it's all going to come from. Okay, next reason to let go of the matrix mindset is thinking that there's a matrix is a matrix in itself. And let me explain here, okay? First things first is, what is a matrix? Okay, the matrix is looked at as this system, okay, this piece of code where everyone within is told certain things and programmed to believe certain things. So think about this. So what if within this matrix there's people who've woken up and decided to make one of their own? Okay, just hear me out. Okay, this is where the philosophical thought's going to come in, maybe a little bit of mental masturbation, but just think. There's been this code, there's been this matrix for almost your whole life. You don't think some people have woken up and been able to start making one of their own? Whether that be through a YouTube channel, who they can influence, TikTok, podcasts, anybody. They have the influence to make a matrix of their own. Okay, and they have the power to control, they have the power to influence and program people to believe certain things. With that being said, you need to, again, reevaluate who you're watching, what beliefs you picked up, and how you speak to others, and make sure that you're speaking to other people in your most authentic way. And whatever beliefs that you have are things that you fully thought through, and not things you just picked up off a TikTok feed or picked off a YouTube video. Even the things I'm going to be talking about here, or the things I've already covered, you need to make sure that you don't take them for face value. Do your own research, develop your own things, question what I'm saying, question what everybody else says as well. Okay. But with that being said, you need to be careful with what ideologies you're picking up, and which ideologies you run with, because it could all be a part of a plan to feed you with certain information about a matrix that works against you. So obviously, say there is a matrix, but since you've grown up with certain personality traits, the person who's coding this matrix decided to feed you with something that makes you feel like there's something against you, and therefore you're going to start to act in emotional ways and not make any progress in your life. Just think about that, because obviously we're sure that it's not good to let fear dictate the decisions we make in our lives. But obviously, if there's fear placed on us, that could all be part of the matrix. So you need to be careful of what decisions you're making, even if it feels productive. What is it out of? Is it out of fear? Is it out of scarcity? Okay, is it out of a need to, or a fulfillment, or a lack in your life? Analyze why you're making these decisions and what you're doing. But that is that. Okay, but once people have that information, that's wrong. Sorry. Yeah, a work system that works against you. Okay, and once people have that information, some stay still and they over obsess about it. Just like I was talking about, like if you're given the information that there's a system against you, some stay still and obsess about it, and some people take action without planning or any reasoning behind that. And what I mean by that is, like, you can be fed. Say the Matrix feeds you with self-development, success, and pursuing goals and dreams. Now you start, I need to build a business, I need to accomplish this and that. But you react out of emotion. You don't necessarily have a reason why. Why the fuck are you going to build a business anyways? Why do you want money? Why do you want to become successful? Have you figured that out yourself? Because if you haven't figured those things out yourself, then maybe you're a product of the Matrix itself. Maybe you're a product to being pushed to make an emotional decision. Because if you're making an emotional decision or acting without reason or logic, then therefore you're not going to make any progress. And they want people to not make any progress. So if they make you pursue things that cause you to lack progress, then that's a part of their plan. Does that make sense? So that's what you don't want. You don't want to be a lost person who acts without reasoning or logic, because that's what they want. They want lost people in this world. Okay, just watch Soul, the movie Soul, how they have all those lost souls. That's exactly what they want society to be, and that's exactly what they're building. And that shit is mad scary, bro. I'm dead ass. I don't want to be that kind of person, okay? But yeah, like I said, this kind of happened to me as well. Like, I got hit with all this self-development stuff probably around, I say late 2019. Late 2019 is when I started my weight loss journey. 2020 is kind of when I started to self-develop a little bit. So it's been about 3 years now. I've been kind of on a progress of self-development and improving myself as a person. But in all reality, I did start off with just going crazy, the big goals and big dreams, and I kind of just did it to make people look, just to make it look like I did to other people. There was no necessarily like internal reason behind it, and sometimes there still isn't an internal reason behind my actions, and that's all a part of the Matrix itself. You don't want to get caught up in that, but that's what I'm saying. I started off with that too. I started off just moving through the goals and dreams without any reason, and I was just working hard without anything. And once I actually figured out that, okay, dude, you have no reason behind this, what's your actual why, that's when things started to clear up for me. Okay, and I was actually just way more at ease. But in conclusion, just make your own reasons and follow your own ideology. People are going to call you arrogant. People aren't going to necessarily want to talk to you or converse with you. People are going to think that you're a know-it-all, but you need to develop your own ideologies. Okay, obviously it's going to be wishy-washy. It's going to be a part of what you've already heard before. But if you can just kind of figure out your own way of wording these famous quotes, you'll become a more authentic person, and you will be you just feel better about yourself. You're gonna feel like you're paving your own path in this world. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel now, and it's genuinely amazing. It's genuinely amazing. The next reason why you should get rid of this matrix mindset is because it will cause an unnecessary amount of hate towards the world. Okay, not even until like a few weeks ago, I was just so angry at the world. All right, and at people who thought differently from me. I was angry at the world, and I was angry at people who thought differently from me. And the reason being was because I simply could see the programming shining through other people during conversation, and I can see it within my own family as well. And sometimes the programming and the average thoughts and the things that kind of keep you like a fucking robot were kind of starting to come into my life and my mindset as well, into the little things that I was doing, and I wasn't really fucking with it, bro, and it caused a lot of fucking frustration. Just a few weeks ago, this is a new discovery for me, bro, just up until a few weeks ago. Okay, but the only reason I got so pissed off was just simply because I felt misunderstood. Okay, and when I'm only 19 years old, I'm just a 19-year-old who just felt you so I just felt, how do I explain this, man? I felt so misunderstood. Like, yeah, I felt so misunderstood. I felt so misplaced. I felt like I didn't belong. Sometimes I still do feel like I don't belong. And honestly, I low-key don't. I wish there was a way for me to just stop being human and just be completely different. Like, I wish there was no such thing as normal. Something I'm like, damn, I don't want to be someone who just drives home. Nigga, I want to like fly home or like jetpack home just to be different. My sister know this. My sister called this out years ago too. You just want to be different from everybody else. Yeah, I do. And I don't know why, but it's kind of a goal for me just to not do normal things and to be completely different. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but you just want to unplug from a human being. Dead ass. But yeah, nobody necessarily understood like a 19-year-old like me who just works so fucking hard and approaches life so seriously and aggressively. And I'm always being told to not do certain things, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who kind of just gets looked at as a fucking anomaly of a person just because I take life seriously, just because I have goals and dreams and ambitions and I actually pursue them. I'm looked at as a fucking evil being who isolates himself and just hates everybody else. But I mean, I think that's kind of what it takes a little bit. But I don't know. I try to be social. But all those things when they were. But I always, yeah, every time I was told those stuff of like, you don't need to take life so seriously, enjoy life, da 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 da. I always framed it as the system is just trying to hold me back, and I'm just being pulled down by all these lobsters that are choosing to stay in the bucket. That's what I framed it as, okay? But just until recently, I kind of just looked in the mirror. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm just the arrogant 19-year-old. Maybe I'm just the kid that thinks he knows it all, and these people are just, I don't know, trying to like put me down a little bit. You're still just a fucking kid. Yeah, I get it, but da 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 da. Maybe that's what they're trying to do to me. Okay, they're older than me. I should still have that sort of respect. But like I said, now I'm coming to the conclusion that people simply just don't know what they know, and when they see something that they don't know, no, people just know what they know. That's it. People know what they know. That's solid. They have their habits. They have their beliefs. They know what they know. But when they see something that they don't know how to respond to that. And with them being human beings, their natural response is to simply be emotional, to have some non thought out opinion or always some sort of projection towards me or towards anybody else. That because they're humans, right? You see something that's kind of freaks you out. Like if someone were to tell you that there's no such thing as a matrix or there's no such thing as like government systematic problems, you would be like, what the fuck? No. Like you would get emotional. You would start to project your thoughts. You would start to give not thought out opinions and all that kind of stuff the same way that they do. So I had to kind of empathize with that and realize that wait. I'm just doing something different. They don't understand it. It's not a system. They're just human beings. So that just gave me a lot of empathy towards these people who are saying all these things, okay? But yeah, that's okay because it's okay. They're just humans. Just accept that, okay? But yeah, dead ass, bro. If you want to avoid anger and if you want to avoid being lost and becoming someone who blames the government or blames the government and all the people in their life for their own shortcomings, then I definitely say that it's time to drop the Matrix Act. It's time to drop the Matrix Act and get the fuck to work, because there's nobody else against you. There's no opposing force except for yourself, of course. We all know it's just the 6 inches between your ears. Nah. But generic. I know. Whatever. All right. The next thing I want to cover is stop complaining and voicing your struggles. Okay. So just stop. Stop complaining and stop voicing anything that you're going through. Okay. I know this kind of goes under the old be a man kind of subject of just kind of hiding your emotions and doing all this stuff. I'm not saying hide your emotions. I'm just saying sometimes there's no point of there's no point of voicing it. Okay, I've even noticed this myself. Like I always used to, up until last week. Yeah, I was. Anytime since I started working 80 hours a week, I've always figured out a way to just slip in the fact that I'm working 80 hours a week to somebody in any conversation. Oh yeah, I'm working 2 jobs right now. Why am I saying that? What validation am I chasing? Oh yeah, I'm kind of tired right now. I gotta take 600 milligrams of caffeine because I'm working so. Why do I voice that, bro? I was chasing some sort of validation. I didn't feel secure in my own self, in my own work, in my own values, so I had to get validation from others. And now I'm making it a mission to just continuously act like I don't work at all. Act like every weekend is lazy. You do anything fun this weekend? Nah, man, I just watch Netflix. I just don't want any validation at all. I don't want to chase it. I don't want to be somebody who pursues it. I want to be humble but yet aggressive, essentially. Somebody who takes over the world, but how are you? Takes over the world, but that's it. You know? How are you? Like just an anomaly of a nigga. You know what I'm saying? That who just fucking abolishes the world but acts like he ain't do shit. Someone who's aggressive as fuck, 3 million in the bank, but acts like he doesn't do shit all day. That's the kind of power I want to have. That's the kind of nigga I'm trying to be. And I know I'm not the only one that thinks like that, because that's fucking amazing. But unless you want to be the Andrew Tate type of nigga who says, I got a Bugatti, I got this, I got that. Or the other niggas that just flex their cars, bump music. You want to be that nigga, bro. But it ain't going to be me. Okay, dead ass. But yeah, and I fucking hated that, bro. I hated chasing that validation, and I'm working to cut that off now. And I do kind of notice this thing now. Like, I do notice the people do this thing and they start to complain. Okay, I used to complain as well. But I think complaining is honestly the worst thing a man can do, because why complain? All right, why let it be known that you're going through an emotional roller coaster? What image does that put on you as a man? What image does that put on you in general? Just somebody who complains. I don't care if you're a girl or a guy. If you're continuously complaining in life, who the fuck wants to be around you? We all know that. We all hate the complainer. We all hate that person. All right, maybe not hate, but no, I hate them. Like, stop complaining, bitch. I don't give a fuck how many hours of sleep you got. I don't give a fuck how much you're struggling. I don't give a fuck how tired you are. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Kind of aggressive, I know, but it is what it is, man. I even see people complaining about, like, they're working their 4, 5, 8 hour shifts, and I've done 16 hours already, and they're complaining. I'm like, they're tired. You're a bitch. You're actually a bitch. I have no fucking empathy. I have none. I don't give a fuck how the fuck are you tired working 8 hours, bro? I don't give a fuck what you do, nigga. Oh, unless it's like construction or huge layer, but even then, those niggas do like 10 to 12. So respect to them, but that's besides the point. You have no power. You have no power in any situation if you were the one that's complaining. All right. The situation that you have power in is if you're doing the hard things every single day in your life and you just make it look easy. Like I said, that's the only time you're ever gonna have power, because you don't have power complaining. All right, and you just have everybody around you just always asking, "Oh, yo, how do you do that shit, man? I can never do that shit myself. How do you stay consistent? How do you work so hard?" If you start getting those questions, you know your life is great. I like what Brandon Carter, he says he did. He just says he says, it's not for everybody, man. And once he says it's not for everybody, man, then people are like, they sit in the corner like a little bitch. I guess it's not for me. I guess it's not for me. But yeah, and again, also nobody wants to listen to a man who complains. You're just annoying as fuck. Yeah, and if you're constantly living a life of complaining, then you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Okay, but that's the whole video. Kind of put it in like a podcast format, me going through points and bullet points. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope that thing is valued. That's kind of everything I have for myself right now. New videos coming soon. I'm going to be kind of putting stuff in podcast format again. Let me know if you guys like this long form content. I hope you guys like listening in your car, at school, or whatever. Again, make sure you comment your favorite part below, which part you relate to the most. And I love you. Start off tomorrow strong, G. Peace.